Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat. Resolves.
Right.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Hello everyone, my name is DJ. This is the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel, and today I want to talk about a brand new Orzhov commander. It's out of Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, and it is so cool. I'm going to build an Orzhov burn deck. That's right, I'm going to burn out my opponents with amazing spells, powerful abilities, and the commander, Astarion the Decadent. Astarion the Decadent is 4 white-black for a 4/4 legendary creature, vampire, elf, rogue. It's got death touch and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, choose one. Feed. Target opponent loses life equal to the amount of life they lost this turn. Or friends. You gain life equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. So Astarion does a really cool effect that we've seen be really powerful in Commander. This is similar to like Wound Reflection. And Wound Reflection has been great. It just punishes your opponents and you see their life total go down and down and down. We even have other versions of Wound Reflection like Archfiend of Despair or Warlock class. And one thing that's really good about doubling up all of these really strong abilities is that they feed into one another. So let's say we have one Wound Reflection and we deal 10 damage to an opponent. Great. We deal 10 damage to an opponent, and then Wound Reflection doubles that to a total of 20 damage. Wow, that's a lot. But just your commander on the battlefield suddenly doubles that to be 40 damage, and your opponent's dead. It doesn't take a lot of damage with these doubling up effects to really punish your opponents and turn a little bit of Orzhov burn into something that kills them. So I want to talk about all of the ways that you can kill your opponents with powerful burn spells and have you gaining life so that you're untouchable. But before we get started into the rest of the deck, I want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, actually the sponsor of the entire Jumbo Commander YouTube channel, Cool Stuff Inc. They have cool stuff on their website, including cards from Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. So if you want to pick up some Magic singles, you want to build this deck, make sure you remember to use the coupon code JUMBO5. That's going to save you 5% off your order. All right, let's get back into this deck because I have a bunch of ways to just kill someone out of nowhere. Because if we're going to be doubling up the damage that we do, if we just take away half of our opponent's life, we've taken away all of their life. Revival Revenge is one of them. The Revenge side is 4 white-black for sorcery, double your life total. Target opponent loses half their life rounded up. We also have Blood Tribute, 4 black-black for a sorcery. Target opponent loses half his or her life rounded up. If Blood Tribute was kicked, you gain life equal to life lost this way. By the way, the kicker is tap and untap vampire you control. Oh my gosh, your commander's a vampire. Amazing. We also have creatures like Scourge of the Skyclaves, where if you kick it, everyone loses half their life. Or Scythe Claw, when it connects, the player loses half their life. I do have to admit that some of these effects are pretty clunky, and I don't necessarily want to always spend 6 mana comboed with another card to just take out one player. So I am interested in cards that just do a lot of damage, because I'm prepared to burn everyone out of this game. So I like cards like Direfleet Ravager, because it just takes away 1/3 of everyone's life. Some other cards that can just do a lot of damage, drain a lot, like Grey Merchant of Asphodel. That's been a way that people have taken out Commander games over and over again. Or Kakusho, a Kakusho sent to your graveyard can just drain everyone out a lot. Actually, it doesn't have to be a big amount of drain. Every little bit of damage can be good. That's why I really like the extort mechanic in this deck, because sometimes it can be difficult to get up to enough mana to be able to kill someone out of nowhere. But the more little bits of incidental damage, the more we hang around in the game by gaining life, the easier it's going to be to take everyone out. So I'm running cards like Throw Parasite and Crypt Gas and Blind Obedience, and I'm excited to extort people and make sure I stay in the game. There's other little drain effects like Kumbal that's really good, or Lisa the Angel taxing everyone slowly. And that's the way Orzhov really likes to play, is to slowly tax people out of their life. But then, of course, we can play some big spells that just end the game. How about Exsanguinate, or Torment of Hailfire, or Debt to the Deathless? These cards have ended Commander games for years, but with this commander, we don't have to sink nearly as much mana into them for us to take out the most powerful player at the table. Another way to lose huge chunks of life is by resetting life totals. Like Soren Markov is already a super miserable card, taking your 40 life and reducing it all the way to 10. but that's 30 loss of life right there. And so combined with any of these damage doubling effects, and that player's out of the game. Of course, there's other cards that can move life totals around. I'm a huge fan of Axis of Mortality. This mythic is so much fun to play, and it makes everyone super anxious as soon as it hits the battlefield, because as you change people's life totals, someone's lost life and someone has gained life that turn. So Axis of Mortality is really fun, and it helps send your opponents at each other rather than at you. And that actually is a really great sub-theme of this deck. If you can control the board and send damage at your opponents, then that's really getting across what you want in this deck. The Monarch encourages people to attack everywhere. Ghostly Prison effects encourage people to attack everywhere. All of these sort of don't attack me cards. We have some pretty big rattlesnakes in this deck. Like, no one wants to attack into your Academy Rector, because you'll block and then you'll get like your Axis of Mortality or your other powerful enchantments like Wound Reflection or like Sanguine Bond or Exquisite Blood. Those are all super powerful. There are also ways to control the board. It'd be nice if you could just get your opponents to attack each other all the time, but that's not always the case. There are a few generic ways that I like to control the board, like a Farewell or Damn or something like that, which are just generally good. But I also like playing cards like Pestilence and Crypt Rats, because that can be weaponized against the player's life total as well and fit that theme. I also think if you can build a reputation for having things like Ink Shield or Settle the Wreckage, people aren't going to want to attack you because it'll be a huge blowout if they do. I also think that Sower of Discord is a hilarious way to pit two players against each other. Of course, I just keep talking about dealing all this damage. I mean, it is a burn deck, but what about the life gain? That could be a part of this too. I mentioned Axis of Mortality. That's a great way to gain a huge chunk of life. Of course, you gain life with Exsanguinate, but you can also double up your life with like Boon Reflection too, or Rock's Faith Mender or Alhammar's Archive. All of these can make your life total huge, and then maybe you can weaponize it with an Aetherflux Reservoir, or with like a Veto, or like that Sanguine Blood, Exquisite Bond kind of combo action that we have before. I feel like there's a lot of black-white decks though that deal with life gain and maybe go a little bit deeper down that strategy, and so I don't want this to be just another life gain deck. I really want this to be a burn attacky deck, but it doesn't mean that it has to be just that, I can embrace a little bit of life gain. So how does this deck actually play out? Well, what I would like to do is ramp, because we're gonna need a lot of mana. You need a lot of mana to sink into a Debt to the Deathless or an Exsanguinate. You're also gonna wanna play your 6 mana commander and then follow it up with something powerful. So that's a lot of mana. We're gonna have a lot of ramp in this deck. And because it's kind of a control deck or a slow deck, we also want card draw. I love that the card draw has some damage built in. So things like Keen Duelist or Sorin or Twilight Prophet all deal damage when you're drawing cards. And I love that effect. Okay, so we're gonna make sure to draw some cards, ramp out, but then also control the board. Hopefully funnel your opponents at each other with Ghostly Prison or the Monarch mechanic. Knights of the Black Rose would be great. And then we're gonna keep drawing and developing our hand. And as we go along, we're gaining life, we're staying in the game, and then all it takes is a big over-the-top play. Someone's threatening, and then bam, we deal a bunch of damage, we double it up, we just take them out of the game out of nowhere. We're putting people's life totals to 10 and then dropping them out of the game. We're gaining huge amounts of life. We're exsanguinating the entire table, tormenting everyone. This is gonna be one of the most fun burn decks you've ever seen, and there isn't any red cards in here. It's gonna be phenomenal. Once again, I want to thank my sponsor, Cool Stuff Inc. They're amazing. Remember to use that coupon code JUMBO5. I also want to thank my patrons. They're fantastic. Thank you. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you. Let me know in the comments down below, maybe a subscribe, something like that. What do you think about this kind of deck? Hey, what are you excited about from Baldur's Gate? Because there's so many legends, I'm gonna have to pick and choose what deck techs I'm investigating. So let me know down there. All right, everyone. Bye.